Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Super Bowl Sunday. Welcome into a super month, this month that is dedicated to love and our celebration of it. And as you can see, the sanctuary is getting more full with the bears and their companions that we're bringing in to love up on, so that the children in Children's Hospital up in LA and the children in Cheer for Children can feel all that love when they get their wonderful gifts, and others too. There you are, this frog, not a bear, refuses to be ignored when all the bear talk is going on. But that's okay, we can let the frog be the frog.
I'm sorry, I forgot my hearing aids and I can't hear you that well. So can you talk a little louder or talk?
Do we have anything? We'll go and get you one that'll help you to hear better. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, so Love Month. What does it mean to you and what does it mean to me? Is it another opportunity for flowers and chocolates and all of that, and for some of us not getting it right, or some of us forgetting about it, and no matter what, it's not exactly what we had anticipated it to be. As you know, we look forward to many, many events, and very often the anticipation is the best part of it. When the event itself happens, it's kind of, oh, okay, sort of thing. So the challenge for you and the challenge for this week, and the calling in our organization throughout the world, is to become much more mindful of what it is to be a love-filled, individualized expression of spirit. We're just told simply, God is love. Okay. We are made in the image and likeness of God. Therefore, I am love, you are love. Every single one of us is love, whether it's expressed or not. That's who and what we are. Some of us express it more fully than others. Some don't express it at all. So this calling this week is to demonstrate the true essence of our being and to be the love that we are. Because in the center core of our being, there is that sacred heart that is always alight, always burning with love, always dynamic in its energy, always the life and the light and the love and the grace of truth itself. It's available to you, it's available to me. And if we so choose to identify with it, and then, having done so, to express it, then your world, my world, will be in a much greater state of unifying, coming together, healing, doing what it needs to take to make that and create that compassionate world that works for all, that works for everybody and works for all of life, works for all of creation. And that's what our organization is committed to do, to create a compassionate world that works for all. And to do that by honoring presence and nurturing spirit, and to enrich the life of all we serve, awakening ourselves and humanity to its spiritual magnificence. I can't think of a more loving thing than that, and a more challenging thing than that. But if we're sitting in this room, it means we're equal to it, we're ready for it, and we're able to be what we are created to be in expression. So there are all kinds of reasons why, we're not there yet in our own minds, because it doesn't matter how much our endeavor is to be the self-realized life that we are at the highest level, and to operate from life's highest point of view, as Emerson would have us do. Sometimes we are very hard on ourselves, and sometimes we don't think we'll ever get it together to be there where we so desire to be, even though we're there already. It's a conundrum. And so that can have to do with all the information that you and I have been fed since we were knee-eyed to a grasshopper, and took it in and took it on board, decided to agree with it. The stuff like you're not at this and you're not at that, and you'll never amount to this and you'll never amount to that, and who makes you think that you're blah, 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 and all of that kind of stuff. Whether that was taken in from the family environment or the school environment or the peer environment, it doesn't matter. There were lots of those kinds of suggestions made to us as we come along. In the 70s and in the 80s, John Powell was very well known for his writings. I came across him in college. He was an a Jesuit priest, and he wrote a spiritual psychology book called "Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am?" Why am I afraid to tell you who I am? Well, you see, you and I can't be the love bugs we're meant to be. We cannot be those love expressing hearts if we haven't come to terms with all of that. Why am I afraid to let you in? Why am I afraid to show myself to you? Why is it I have to don roles and wear masks and play games and do all of that stuff just so that I can feel that I'm part of the in-group or the crowd, or I'm acceptable, or whatever that is. And yet all of us do that to some degree or another. And the question is asked of somebody there in the book, well, okay, why are you afraid to tell me who you are? And the answer was, I'm afraid to tell you who I am. Because if I tell you who I am and you don't like who I am, I have given you everything and you have rejected it. And that is why I'm afraid to tell you who I am. Now, we know that at least there needs to be one person in our lives who sees us, who gets us, who hears us, who understands us to the best possible degree that any other outsider can, in order for us to have some sense of ourselves and to live in a way that is affirming us and affirming life. At least one person. But for that to happen, I must first see myself, hear myself. I must first understand myself to the best degree I can. And I must first love myself. So Love Month is a challenge to you and to me to see what kind of care I'm taking of my heart, not just physically. And by the way, we kicked off, pardon the pun, we kicked off this month on Friday celebrating Healthy Heart International Day, and we're asked to wear red. And that's a great good start to a heart month, Happy Heart Month. So we're asking ourselves not to just look at our physical hearts, but to look at the inner heart. And there is an inner heart. It's the deep, deep part of us. And even the physicists and so on are now saying that this inner heart is the mind, is the deeper intelligence, and so on. And as you know, the language of that heart is very different to the language of the mind. The language of that heart is not interested in describing love. It's interested in being love. And so that's the heart we're focused on right now and for the coming month. And it's given to you and it's given to me to see just exactly how is my heart showing up in my life and how is my heart expressing. Is it expressing fully? Today we're looking at the open heart. Remember, if a door is not open, you can't get in and you can't get out. There's nothing going in and there's nothing coming out. It's the same with your heart. If your heart is not open, there's nothing coming in and there's nothing going out. All of that reserved power and grace and beauty and life and light and radiance is all stuck inside, and none of it's getting out there because I'm afraid to tell you who I am, because if I tell you who I am and you don't like who I am, I've given you everything and you have rejected it, you see. And it's complex. You and I are complex creatures. And we ought to value ourselves as this amazing, individualized, unique, one and only expression of this life that decided to live itself and express itself and experience itself by means of you and by means of me, you see. But if I keep it all bottled up, if I keep being so tentative and afraid, and if I keep keeping everything out, shutting the world out and shutting people out and even shutting myself out to myself, which is the saddest of all, then I'm always going to live in a frustrated way of being. And I'm never going to be satisfied. And I'm never going to feel that I'm anything more than my feelings. And that is not a way for anyone to live, or was anyone ever meant to live that way. There's a lovely story in in one of Caroline Mace's books about a man. They were happily married. He married the love of his life. and they were happily married. But after a time, the wife got sick and tired of him. And the reason why she got sick and tired of him is because he was too kind. She couldn't stand his kindness. He was too sharing, too giving. He helped too many. He was always giving to this and giving to that and giving to the other. And they had the conversation about it. And he tried his very best to make it work, but it didn't work. Eventually, she broke up with him and she left him because he was just too good, too kind, too giving, too caring. It's not a story you hear very often. I mean, it worked out for him later on okay, but this lady was a lady who was just so, and there was plenty of money. I mean, it wasn't leaving anything short by his generosity, but she was always living in scarcity feeling. You never know. There could be a rainy day. You're giving all this away and we might need it later on, although there was plenty. And so you had two juxtapositions there. And of course, he couldn't stop being who he was, and she couldn't stop being who she was. And so they couldn't continue on together. And it was a remarkable story to read, because the first and only story I've ever read about somebody where there's a split up in a marriage because he's too nice and too good and too caring and too generous, you see, because mostly that's what people are looking for in a partner. So, I mean, if you and I were to be examined on our level of being good and kind and caring and giving at the moment, where would we show up on that Richter scale? And the thing about it is, if you fall short, and we'll all fall short, it's not because we haven't got the wherewithal. We certainly do have the wherewithal. It's for some reason we're blocked and stopped somewhere to prevent us from being the wholeness and the fullness of who we are. Because who we are is absolutely stunningly opulent, abundant, amazing, incredible. And if there was some kind of machine that they had invented whereby we could see ourselves metaphysically, we wouldn't be able to stand the glory and the radiant light that we'd be looking at. We'd need special goggles to look into it, kind of thing, until we grew accustomed to it and we were able to begin slowly to identify with it. And then we could stand in our own sovereignty and we could face the light, into the light that we are, recognize the light that we are, with its fullness and its opulence and its abundance of everything that is good, everything that is whole, everything that is full, and everything that is complete, because that's who you are and that's who I am right now. Doesn't matter what's going on, whether I've one wheel on my wagon or whether I've four and a spare, it doesn't matter. I'm still the same, and I always will be the same, radiant, whole, and complete divine essence and substance. I am a chip off the old block, and that will never change. I am of my Creator, and what's of my Creator is as is the Creator is, you see. And you and I find that so far-fetched at times that we just can't get ourselves around it. And that's the only thing that's stopping us and blocking us from any great health, any great wealth, any great loving relationship, any great terrific expression of good in our lives. We just cannot face our own light. We cannot face our own radiance. We cannot face our own sovereignty and say, yes, that's what I am. I'm one with it. We back away from it all the time because we don't recognize ourselves in it. And Love Month for you and for me is about standing in the sovereignty of love and being that. And as I was saying this morning, we hear all the time about disciples. We hear all the time about seekers. We hear all the time, about novices and so on and so forth, seeking their spiritual whatever it is, or their teacher, whatever the teacher is along the board of any great bounds of knowledge. But you see, in our teaching, we're not seekers and we're not disciples, and we were never meant to be led, never. What we are meant to be in our teaching is to realize our masterhood. We are masters, we're not disciples, we're not seekers, we're not those who are to be led. We are those who are to know themselves as being the masterhood of our own lives, our own individual expressions, because how can anybody master what is a unique, individualized expression? No one can. I have to be my own master, my own savior. I have to be my own redeemer. I have to be my own healer. Physician, heal thyself, we are told, you see. And the matters of the heart are the matters of the deepest part of us. That is why in the scriptures you read, that out of the heart flows the issues of life. So be diligent in your care of the heart, you see. And so that masterfulness that is within us already, with which we came, is the cause of our frustration, because deep down within us we know there's more to us than meets the eye. Certainly there's more to me than meets your eye, and there's more to you than meets my eye, and there's even more to me than meets my eye. And I have to catch up with that, and so do you. And the heart is always the answer, and the heart is where we live. Heart is where we live. Heart is where love lives. Heart is where we are most at home. Heart is what we go home to. Now, whether that heart, whatever it's saying to you, to me, it's life, it's light, it's love, it's peace, it's beauty, it's power, it's wisdom, it's knowledge, it's understanding. It's all that is good and whole and wholesome. And when I can get there, when I'm unified in that, all is well. It doesn't matter what's going on out there, in here, whatever. It's like yesterday. I mean, the day that I had, people would describe as a day from hell. Well, I did not. I got up, I had to be in LA at a certain time. Get into the car, start the car. Can't even turn the ignition. Not even turn it. Nothing's happening. So I could have gone to, oh my God, there's something dreadful gone wrong with the car. Now what am I going to do? Where am I going to get a car? So I call AAA. So in the speed of light, the AAA guy is there, Pete. Amazing guy. And then he just opens up the not the hood, the trunk, the boot, where the battery is. And it's just a question of the battery being run down. He gets that thing up and running in no time flat. I had to call in the meantime and cancel, say, I may not get to you, I may not be able to be present until the afternoon and blah, 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 but I'll try my best to get there as soon as I can. Well, okay, it'll be okay. We can hold on until 11 o'clock. If you get here by 11, it'll be fine, okay. That fellow has that car done in no time flat, and I get there at 10:30. 10:30. Okay. So then I get the right idea. I'm so grateful. I say, why do I ever doubt you? Why do I ever doubt you? Why do I ever this? I say this all the time. Why do I ever doubt you? Always take care of me. And I didn't go to the dark place. I said, this is going to work out somehow. This is going to work out. So I get the idea, well, I have a friend who's really shut in a lot, and I haven't seen her in a while, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, in gladness and thanksgiving, I'll rush over there and I'll see her, even though I have other things to do. Okay, so I'm on the way over, and I think, well, I'll take her some lunch, because that would be nice. It'll be a nice surprise. So I can't find a parking place. Eventually, I find a parking place, perfect parking place. So I go to the place to get the lunch, and I can't. It seems to have moved. And then in the meantime, people are sitting out eating something, and I say to a couple, "Where did you get that?" And they say, "Oh, in the wine and sandwich place." And I said, "Is that up there?" And he says, "Yes, right where the car is." So I make a turnaround to go up, and there's a big, huge gap in a tree trunk, and I fall. I fall. Boy, do I fall. Okay, I fall the right way so I don't hurt myself. A little kind of a sprained wrist, but not much of all. So the most thing that you hurt when you fall is your dignity. Beautiful people around get me up. Some things fell out of my purse. Got my purse. Went back up. Got the sandwiches. Go to pay for the sandwiches. No wallet. No wallet. So I'm saying, I know that wallet fell out when I fell, and blah, 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 blah. But in the meantime, as I'm searching for my wallet, I dig in deep into my pockets, and I come out pouring blood. Because when I fell, a little bulb I wanted to replace that fell out of the car, I put into my pocket, and it stabbed me, and I was bleeding like you wouldn't believe. Like my every body part was open and bleeding. This was pouring and gushing and blood all over the place. I said, okay. Got a couple of napkins, wrapped that around. I said, hang on to that order. I have to run down here, see where my wallet is. So I run down. I'm looking at the tree and all the gnarly bits in it, and there's no wallet there. And just as I raise my head, a lady says, are you Margaret? Because I go by my middle initial, Moira. I said, yes. She says, are you looking for your wallet? I said, yes. She said, it's in that store there. I said, thank you so much. Ran into the store, got the wallet, came out, came back, got the sandwiches, got into the car, blood pouring over to my... Going in feeling great because I'm going to feed her and it'll be wonderful because she's shut in and all of that. I go in and she says, oh... I have so-and-so coming with my food in a half an hour, and she's bringing me pork chops and potatoes and God knows what not. And there I am with my little sandwich and salad and French fries. And I think, well, okay, that's great, that's good. You have somebody else coming in. And I'm stopping there because they're giving me the line. And it goes on and on throughout the day. But I have to tell you, throughout the day, all I was doing was giving thanks. That Spirit was working so beautifully to make it all right. You know, the wallet was there. It was only a tiny top of my finger. I could have held the whole thing and been, you know, over in the hospital getting stitches or something. The car could have been worse and it wasn't, and so on. And I'm saying, my God, why do I ever doubt that you don't take care of business? And I was so very, 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 very grateful. But there was a time and I would have said, are you kidding me? You know? But I didn't go there. So that was a lovely day for me yesterday. And I felt because... because I said, when I shouldn't have said it because I got a bit of a coughing fit, I said, all could go wrong now as I lose the voice again. But I said, no, I'm joking. I cancel that. I'm just joking. And so what I'm saying is, because I was so focused on this today, because I started on Friday, and the heart and the business of the heart and so on, that it had to be open and it had to be trusting and it had to trust the creative process. And you see, that's where you and I get to walk the talk. That's where you apply what you know as faith. That's where you believe that the outcome will all work out and it'll be okay. And whatever reason that happened, it happened. Who knows, if I'd gone early and in time, there could have been a crash on the freeway or something. You never know. You just never know the way life's river takes you. So I am saying to each and every one of us to be like Mother Teresa, to realize once and for all, look at, we would all love to do great things for the world. We would love to do great things for people all the time. And as she says, look, we cannot always do great things, but we can do lots of little things with great love. And it's with the great love that matters. So let's stop judging each other. Let's stop outguessing each other. Let's stop thinking we know what each other is saying when we really don't know what each other is saying, because you can only know what somebody else is saying when you have the heart connection. If there's no heart connection and it's just the mind analyzing and it's just the mind judging and it's just the mind reasoning, you don't know what you're thinking or what you're saying about somebody else, even yourself. Only when you have the heart connection is there a chance of you knowing what the other is saying. Is there a chance of you understanding what's going on in the other person? Is there a chance of you being seen and present and hearing that person? There has to be the heart connection. You and I have to become expert, au fait, with the language of the heart and speak to each other from the heart. And when you and I speak to each other from the heart, we'll be silent in each other's presence much more. We'll be listening to each other much more. We'll be seeing each other much more. We'll be present to each other much more, because the language of the heart is a conviction and a feeling. It is not rational, logical, judgmental reasoning. It is a quiet, deep, intuitive awareness. And therefore, my dear ones, namaste yourself up and down the yin-yang this week. And when you look in the mirror, don't see what you normally see. See beyond what you're seeing. And see your Sacred Heart on fire with the radiance and the glory of sovereignty and power and authority that is within you to speak your word for the truth that you wish to express and to experience and for the good that you desire. And when you state your word, make a claim on the law. You declare into the law. You command the law. You don't pussyfoot around it and go like Uriah Epish and say, oh, please, please, law, if you would, I'd be so great. You command the law and you state in faith what you know to be the truth of your being given to you by divine right. You are the sovereign. You are the expressing. You are the authoritative. You are the powerful life and light and love of spirit. And that's who you are, what you were, is now, and always will be. That's your truth, and so it is.